Is DC's upcoming slate more exciting than Marvel's? That is the question and the headline on today's MBE Heroes. And this one is coming in from Screen Rant, guys, and as I did say, it's actually Screen Rant that is posing this very intriguing question, which is connected with me on some level. They are asking the question, does DC's upcoming slate of movies equal a more exciting prospect than Marvel's? And they've went through the array of movies which are set to come out. And look, I have my own particular point of view on it. I don't feel like any one slate of movies is more exciting than the other, but if I had a personal preference for individual movies, then I would probably lean more towards DC, because there's just something about what DC's doing now. They're changing strategy, going down a more individual standalone movie route, as opposed to just relying heavily and relentlessly on this Hollywood quirk that we've seen arise over the last decade or so, and the whole cinematic universe thing, everything having to be shared in the same universe. And there's only one studio really who has managed to cornerstone that market and really make a consistent success out of cinematic universes, and that is of course the aforementioned Disney and Marvel. DC tried it to little success. Universal remain adamant that they are going to try and do a monster universe despite the failures of that horrible Mummy movie, which was supposed to kickstart it off. And DC have forgone that. They've now realised, look, we have a different type of story to tell, we have different characters, and we want to go down our own route. And look, they've done it, and they've done it with the Joker, they've done it with Shazam, they've done it with Aquaman, they're doing it with Wonder Woman, and going even further forward, we have the Birds of Prey or the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. We have a whole array of other movies, Black Adam, the Batman, potentially a new Superman movie helmed by J.J. Abrams. So yeah, I think if I was to be forced into it at gunpoint and select perhaps which slate I'm more excited for, on a more individual basis, I would probably pick obviously DC. But when you look at Marvel's slate 4, I can't sit here and lie and say that I'm not excited for that as well, because Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I think it's called, obviously the Eternals, what they're doing on Disney Plus with Captain America and not Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and WandaVision and Loki, I'm extremely excited for them as well. But it's just great to see that we're re-energised. These two companies are back where they deserve to be, fighting it out with each other head to head, doing different things, utilising different strategies, and really doing the best to make a success of what they've got at their disposal. Marvel just now are going through a transitionary phase. They've lost Iron Man, they've lost Steve Rogers and Captain America, they've lost Black Widow, some of the OG characters that propulsed the early stages of the Infinity Saga in the MCU. They're trying to transition to perhaps Doctor Strange, maybe a Captain Marvel, or maybe even, I don't know, the Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor, or maybe even the Eternals, as I was about to say, being the mainstays of their new cinematic universe. So with that comes perhaps some issues, perhaps some ominous issues, but I would be more inclined to say positive problems, and that you have to reconnect the audience, the viewers, with new characters, new stories. And look, I think in many ways they may be in a similar place actually, DC and Marvel. DC have had to restart and go off in a different way with new characters, and they're recasting obviously Batman, they're recasting obviously Superman potentially, they've recast Batman I should say, and they're in a similar spot to Marvel. Marvel haven't introduced new characters, they're having to introduce new characters and stories, so it's very exciting if you're a fan of both like I am, and it's very exciting if you're a fan of one as well, because you're starting afresh, you get new stories and perhaps new ways of delivering these stories, which I will go into later on in the show with another topic. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with this new MCU Slate 4 release of movies. Obviously Kevin Feige is probably the best guy in terms of producing to be helming a change, a transitionary period, and the guy just gave us characters which had no right succeeding, like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies with Rocket and Groot, a talking tree and a talking raccoon. They had no right to succeed, but because James Gunn was in there with a creative vision, and because Kevin Feige had the foresight to allow him to exercise that vision into reality, we got some amazing movies. He used Iron Man, not an incredible character like with incredible history. He has history, but not in the vein of perhaps a Batman or Superman. So I guess what I'm saying is the MCU in its early formative stages took unlikely characters, unlikely stars, brought them to us, connected us to them and with the audience, and then they really grew them exponentially over the 10-year period to the stage where we couldn't imagine being without them. Whereas DC have always had incredible characters, they've just been mishandling them, and they seem to be getting their shit together now finally. And look, they're both in similar spots, as I says, without repeating myself a million times. And I'm really excited to see, I forgot about the Suicide Squad as well, where they both go, and I think it's equal. But as I did say, I think they may be right. DC could actually have, on an individual basis, a slightly stronger slate of releases over the next 2-3 years. But time will really tell. Whether that will all be determined by how Kevin Feige can connect the audience with the likes of the Eternals and all these new characters being introduced, like Shang-Chi. If he can do it like we know he can, then it may equal itself out pretty damn quickly, and we may see that Marvel have in fact got the strongest slate of releases. It will all play out in time, and time will tell really. But I'm going to move on, guys. I've got a whole array of topics to speak about. There's no need for me to continue beating the box of one for way too long a time. This one is all about Kevin Feige, incidentally, speaking about the multiverse being the key to the MCU's future. Now, I did get into it, about how this rejuvenation, this transitionary period for the MCU, how it could be handled, how the handling of it could be key, and how Kevin Feige is perhaps the best guy to be helming this vision. And obviously he's took over Marvel as a whole. He oversees every little facet of that company now. And he's been speaking at this event at obviously in Brazil, the CCXP, and it's a very lengthy quote, but I'll do my best to try and paraphrase it slightly. It essentially says that when we first started the MCU, it was all about Tony Stark, introducing the world to Tony Stark in that Iron Man armour, as I did allude to. Not an incredibly well-known character, but he managed to create such a strong bond with thousands upon thousands of fans and make that character a star. He says that we went on to teach people what Asgardians were and learn about super soldiers, and he brought them together with the Avengers. And he says, moving on from that now they're moving on to the multiverse being the next step in the evolution of the MCU. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to crack it open in ways that will have repercussions for a Disney Plus series before it. That's not WandaVision, and for movies after it in a big fun way. Now, I think we all know which TV show he's alluding to. It's going to be Loki, let's be honest. It is absolutely Loki. Tom Hiddleston has wanted to come back and play this character. Perhaps it was thoughts maybe prior to Avengers Endgame that he was maybe moving off to pastures new, but maybe regained a lust, a zest for the character. And then obviously with that sequence in that flashback, the time heist in the original Avengers where he managed to break free with the Tesseract, that opened the door for him to come back perhaps to the new timeline and that we're seeing in phase 4 of the MCU. And I think we will see this multiverse playing out in that manner. They will crack it open with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, bring home and let it roost the idea of different universes being present at one time. And we will see how Loki manages to escape the clutches of Thor and whatnot and the rest of the gang in that setting with the Tesseract, and then make his way slowly back into the current timeline in the MCU and what that will mean in the ramifications, because he's still the Loki that we knew and loved back in the original Avengers movie, Avengers Assemble. Very much villainous, and he has nefarious things in his mind and a lot of hate. He's not developed into the character we loved by Endgame, or Infinity War I should say. So I think that's very cool, and I like what he's saying here, just the way this is going to develop the MCU and change things monumentally. I think it's going to be incredibly important for Scarlet Witch. I think she's going to be in a very strange place. We have seen early shots of WandaVision, and she's with Vision, and it's like a 1950s Pleasantville setup where they are sitting on a couch, or they've got 60s gear on, so a suit and dress. They're out of place, out of time. I think she's created, and this is a theory of course, but I think she has created an alternate universe, an alternate reality, perhaps to escape off into to help with the grieving of losing Vision. Perhaps she's just went into another universe to live out a life with him, much like what we've seen with Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers in the very much real timeline. And I think we'll perhaps see Doctor Strange get in and trying to redeem her, take her out and save her, maybe even bring Vision in. And that will open it up and we'll have some horror aspects in there, because this is going to be a horror movie, of course. And this will just open up a Pandora's box in terms of multiverses, and we'll have a whole host of things coming out of it. Now, this article, I really did go down a rabbit hole reading it, and it really excited me for the potential of the MCU getting into Phase 4 and beyond. And they go into a wide array of things that could happen here. It could introduce the real multiverse to the MCU, they say. But obviously it was highlighted and hinted at, and obviously Spider-Man Far From Home, it turned out it was all a mirage, it was fake. And good old Mysterio was also having his own, and Tom Holland's Peter Parker on as well. But what they say is it's slightly different, the way they're utilising this multiverse in the MCU to what we've seen in the comics, and that it could see us opening up the potential for seeing the likes of the mutants and the X-Men coming in, but more importantly, coming up to the release of Blade in the next few years. It could see us being introduced to vampires as well in the MCU, and also that will then tie us nicely into the introduction of Blade as a more standalone, also the Mahershala Ali led movie. And that's going to be so cool, just the different things that are going to come out of this multiverse, and the way it's going to set up things and let it marinate nicely. We're going to see Loki, we're going to see Wanda in there, Scarlet Witch, we're going to see Doctor Stephen Strange in there, we're going to see vampires coming out, potentially the X-Men coming out. And it's going to be so cool. I cannot wait to see it. I can't wait to see how they're going to utilise this. We're getting a guy who understands horror at its very core coming in to do this movie Helmet. And I can't wait to see that as well. This being the sort of a pioneering horror movie within the MCU before we then get Blade, which is a more traditional horror movie within the MC or Marvel Comics anyway. It's going to be very cool. It's going to open the door up in a wide array of different reasons, in terms of storytelling possibilities, in terms of the MCU characters, arcs, and genre defining roles of movies and whatnot. So I'm very excited for it. But as I did say, I may not even do this topic now. There has also been an image released of WandaVision. I probably won't have spoke about it, and they're saying there's ramifications for her, and I did get into that in this topic anyway. She could be in a strange place come the events of WandaVision and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She may have created a universe of her own where she's lawful living a happy lifestyle, but a fake life with Vision, and how this could impact on various other characters. It's very cool. But look guys, I'll move on to the next topic. I'm not going to do that one. And this one, and it's in actual fact the final topic. I don't know how I've managed to get to the final topic so soon, and there may be an issue here. But look, if there isn't, it's the final topic and I'll get into it anyway. It's all about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, to focus on Sam and Captain America's shield. Now, this is coming in from Screen Rant, and they do have a quote, and it's coming from Kevin Feige himself, I do believe. And he says that we saw Old Man Cap hand that shield to Sam Wilson at the end of Endgame. And the question is, what did he do with it next? What does it mean for Sam Wilson and that shield? That's a big responsibility, and that's very much what the show focuses on and is about. Now, look, I'm all for this. We speculated about this, me and Stephen, many moons ago on the, obviously, Heroes, probably a hero show from, God, I don't know how many months back, probably around about the announcement of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we suggested that it may focus heavily on Sam Wilson and where he is mentally, and how he's dealing with being thrust into the role of Captain America, for the lack of a better phrase, because I don't think he will be playing Captain America like Steve Rogers played him, but just how it's going to affect him, how he's going to transition into this new beacon of light. And what they are saying in this article as well, which intrigues me greatly, is that there may be some blowback from the US government, that they may not want or be accepting of Sam as the Captain America, that they may be looking to cast Wyatt Russell as John Walker, aka US Agent, and putting him into the role of Captain America in the absence of Steve Rogers, and that there could be some conflict between the two. Now, this intrigues me for a whole variety of reasons, because they do say that US Agent in the comic runs was traditionally a villainous, antagonistic character. He played a super patriot who was contrasting to Captain America. He didn't have the core message of good patriotism. He was a little bit more villainous in the way that he tackled patriotism, and I think this can play off wonderfully. Now, I know we do have a returning villain. I forget who his name is at the moment, He's coming back. I can't find it, but it doesn't matter. Baron Zemo, obviously Daniel Brühl, he's coming back. He may be the one of many villains in this TV show. And if it's anything like Mandalorian, then we know that they can do little side stories with different villains anyway, and have him maybe come back for 1 or 2 episodes, and then we have this US agent being, or John Walker, being the overarching villain. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that blowback from the government not accepting Sam, him being absolutely bewildered because of how he has obviously played a part in the roles of Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, of the Infinity Saga as a whole, being a close friend to Steve Rogers. Just where he is mentally, where Bucky is mentally, how he fits into this, the dynamics and how it's going to work. It's going to be very, very cool to see. Part of me wishes it is an hour long each episode instead of the half an hour centric storytelling style we've seen in The Mandalorian, but if they can condense it like we've seen in The Mandalorian and make it so addictive and exciting to see every week, then look, I'm on board for any length of duration or whatever you want to call it of episode. I think there's so much potential here with these guys coming in. Obviously we have the likes of Anthony Mackie and obviously Sebastian Stan, great friends, great chemistry coming together with Daniel Brühl and with perhaps Wyatt Russell. It's going to be a great big melting pot in terms of actual acting chemistry and the characters. The potential's there, and this is why I'm so excited for Disney Plus and what it means for the wider storytelling ramifications and just prospects for the MCU. Kevin Feige received some criticism for saying that people who didn't watch the Disney Plus TV shows would be out of the loop. They'd be falling behind in the MCU, that they wouldn't be able to understand what is going on in the stories if they don't watch these TV shows. And there was people saying, look, I'm not watching 6-hour movies, 8-hour length TV shows, sorry, not movies, because it's too much hassle. I just want to focus on the theatre, like feature length movies, if I can speak in Rift. And I think this is why that's an idiotic decision to make, because there's going to be so much storytelling being condensed into this TV show and into the array of TV shows which are going to come. And I think they're going to have such wide-ranging ramifications and implications for these movies going forward, and I really can't wait. And that visual of the US agent character, he looks so cool. He does look like Steve Rogers' Captain America, and just how this is going to fit. Perhaps Sam will feel jilted and he'll be like, Jesus Christ, what are they doing? They're shutting me out. And then he'll have to fight for his cause, and then we'll have Bucky perhaps going through something in the background as well, trying to grow into a new person. Also, he's still getting over the brainwashing that we've seen at the hands of Hydra and whatnot. So I just think the potential here is so exciting. I cannot wait to see where they go with this character, these characters as a whole, and the TV shows. And it's just a really exciting time to be a fan of comic book movies and the comic books themselves. But look guys, I've not got much more to add. I'm done. I spoke the hind legs off. I probably spoke a lot of shit in truth, because I feel like I have, but perhaps you can tell me if you've watched it. What do you make of the topics I spoke about? The idea of DC having a better slate of releases than Marvel. Who's got the better slate, the MCU or DC? What do you make about the multiverse being a real important issue in the MCU going forward? What's your thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, and this concept of Sam perhaps being jilted and flung to the side by the US government? If you have anything to say about anything, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And if you do, I'll be back again tomorrow with MBE Movie News.